Hi, it's Gloria from Homestar Homeschool Mama. As always, I have my 2-year-old here with me. Gabriel, say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so what I wanted to discuss today was our literature class. Now, first, let me say that I'm not going to share everything that we're using. I'm not going to share everything we're using for literature.
Mom?
I'm not going to share everything that we're using for literature because at this point, I don't have it all planned. We're just taking it as it goes. However, there's one thing that I'm for certain that we are doing, and that's what I want to share with you. The first thing that we are using is Teaching the Classics. And I purchased this on IEW. I will try to leave the price below. What's included in the Teaching the Classics, this is the second edition, by the way, is a teacher booklet and 8 CDs included in here. So that's all that's included in here. I will say before the school year started, I watched the DVDs myself in their entirety. I did the lessons with the host. His name is Adam Andrews, but the whole system is by Adam and Missy Andrews. So like I said, I watched it from every single CD. I took notes. I even have my binder here where I took the notes. And I will say that what does it include? Is it what I thought it was? I had contacted, first of all, I had contacted IEW and asked them what they suggested for my 9th grader. And they suggested Teaching the Classics with Windows to the World. And I'll discuss Windows to the World in a different video. But as for what Teaching the Classics includes, I'm going to go over that now. So I like teaching the classics, and quite frankly, I think this is the right thing to start off at, so that's why we're doing it. I have learned a lot from watching the videos, and if you've done the Style and Structure DVD with Andrew Pudewa, you will kind of expect the same thing through this. He talks to you about what you're going to be teaching and how to teach it, and just kind of educates you on the certain elements of literature that you are going to be discussing with your child in your literature class. So I will say you are required to print out this, which is on the IEW site. And it's pretty much a, I guess, layout of how the class is going to go. So it's been very beneficial to me as well. And here it pretty much tells you what you're going to teach and then the homework on this side. Now, if you're new to my channel, my son, who this class is for, is in the 9th grade. He has dyslexia. And also has some slow processing. So with the slow processing, it's just a matter of cutting down the information into chunks that he is able to understand and not giving him too much information that's going to overwhelm him. So I've kind of spaced out what they have suggested to do a little bit more. The first thing they do is discuss style and context. Now style, they discuss assonance, alliteration, onomatopoeia, imagery, allusion, things like that. And context is learning more about the writer and doing a little research on that writer so that you can understand better why they have written or how they have written, just kind of getting more information about the writer. Let's see, in lesson 2, well, let me backtrack. That was lesson 2. Lesson 1's just kind of like an intro. So lesson 2 is the style and context. Lesson 3 is over setting, and that is where we are right now. Now, we are only in our second week of homeschooling high school. So we have taken it slow. I don't think we've actually rushed it. So we're already on week 3, which I guess makes sense because if we're in our second week and the first week is just introduction, it makes sense that the first week we do style and context, and the second week we do setting. We do setting. Hi. So style and context we've already discussed, and the story we did with that was Paul Revere's Ride. We did that in class. We discussed it. And I will say that I at first did not want my son to watch the videos because I felt like it was more teacher oriented. But I'll get into that in just a minute. So for the first week, which we discussed style and context, I just found the audio on the computer online, and we heard it through there, and that's how we did our class. But through that story, Paul Revere's Ride, we were able to discuss some of the elements that I discussed, like onomatopoeia, allusion, alliteration, imagery, similes, and things like that. This week, however, I decided to, when we're discussing setting, the story was Rikki Tikki Tavi, and the story I felt was better read by Mr. Andrews himself. So this week I kind of just skipped up to the part where Andrew reads the story of Rikki Tikki Tavi, and just had that. Now, of course, as always, I wanted my son to read along and listen to Mr. Andrews, but Mr. Andrews does such a good job of reading it that you kind of get sucked into it. So I don't blame him for not following along. But with that, we went ahead and discussed the questions that they have for setting. And then after that, he worked on a story himself that I did provide the audio for. And he was to look for questions or answer questions that had to deal with the setting. The third week we'll be discussing is conflict and plot, and then followed by theme. So I guess in all, it seems like we're probably going to be spending about 4 weeks doing that. It may be 5 because the last chapter discusses putting all those elements together in one story. I believe it's Casey at the bat. But so far it's been really beneficial to me and my son. So like I said, we've been taking it nice and slow. I'll even show you here. Let's see. Let's see right here if you can see. We've just kind of been writing some of these things down that we've learned. We just haven't filled in context. So far I'm liking this course. Like I said, it's only going to last about 4 weeks, but I believe that this was a very much needed class for my son and me, primarily because I felt, have not done a lot of discussion with literature. And I can say honestly that it was because my main focus was trying to get him up to the right reading level, or a high enough reading level that he would be able to do his work independently. So most of my focus was on him reading rather than discussing elements of literature. That's what we are doing for the first 4 weeks of school. Now, I do have a lot of other ideas of what I'm thinking about doing. I'm not so certain if we are going to do Windows to the World. I guess the more I look into it and actually do it, I'll decide what I'm going to pull from it. But I don't think I'm going to adhere to it. And the author Also, you know, says you can do whatever you want, however you want. It's your class. One problem that I've already run into is that one of the books that they discuss in Windows to the World is To Kill a Mockingbird, and my son read that last year, so, for 8th grade. So I have to pick a different story, and as of right now, I'm thinking Lord of the Flies, simply because I want it to be a little interesting, and it's more geared towards a boy. So that's the story that I'm thinking about right now. But I feel really good about this course because I feel like it's given us enough information that we can take with us to through literature and be able to discuss it and get more from it. I did want to mention that one of the most helpful things that I found in this is that in the book, to the back, they do have an appendix, and they do have a list of what they call Socratic questions. So they have a list of questions discussing theme, conflict, plot, character, and literary devices. I like the way they have it set up because it goes from easy questions for maybe your, you know, late elementary to middle schoolers down to more high school, college level questions. If you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to leave them below. As always, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.